All right, setting the bar stories. These are
examples of what not to do or situations we hope you don't find yourself in.
Look, getting a new job can be stressful, especially if it involves uprooting and moving to a new city or state. But if you can manage to make it through the day without moving for a new job, only to find out you didn't get the job, you're doing okay.
Oh, no. Oh, we moved and we don't have the job?
Yeah, a lot of balls were dropped with this, but it involves 24-year-old Camryn.
Oh, Camryn.
She had applied for a kind of a cheerleading coaching sports job.
Yeah.
In Virginia. She lives in Florida.
Okay. Oh, well, that's a big move.
She did some virtual interviews with the coach. They brought her up to have an in-person interview. Everything was going well. Like the coach was like, hey, we think this is going to work out. So I want you to go ahead and get in touch with HR so they can start the process of onboarding you. So in that time, she submits everything. And so she wraps up some stuff in Florida. She moves. She even gets there and starts and then hasn't heard anything from HR, so kind of reaches out to HR, and the HR's like, yeah, hey, thank you. We're still interviewing the applicants. Oh. And so she's like...
Because here I am thinking it's just a misunderstanding that needs to be figured out. And they call me and they're like, no, by the way, this is not a misunderstanding that needs to be figured out. You will not be working for us. You will not be hired. We are not choosing you as a candidate for this job posting. This is not it. And here I am sobbing on the phone because I just relocated my whole life, thousands of miles.
Gosh.
All my stuff is in a storage unit there. And here I am just like homeless, jobless. Like, what the heck? What is going on?
Yeah. So, like I said, there were so many balls that were dropped. Like the hiring manager,
my gosh,
he needed to have his stuff together, and she didn't have like a signed contract or anything like that. But in a sense, she was taking the word of the hiring manager that everything was good, and he said something like, "Oh well, I think you're." There's something up with your background check. And so she asked HR. HR's like, no, your background check. Oh, we haven't even gotten to that point. We haven't even done a background check on you because you're not to that point in the interview.
Oh, boy.
I mean,
oh, my gosh.
How awful would that be? So she worked for 7 days with this coach.
Oh, my gosh.
While they were supposedly figuring everything out with onboarding her with HR, only to find out she didn't actually get the job.
That's insane. What a massive miscommunication.
Yeah. So this business wound up paying her about $1,600, almost like a, hey, you didn't get the job. We understand what happened. And we feel bad. Here's $1,600 to help cover, maybe some moving expenses.
Moving back,
right?
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know if she's moving back. I don't know what she's doing.
Go of it there. Oh my gosh!
Have you ever relocated? I mean, radio. A lot of times, there's not a whole lot of radio jobs in a city, right? So a lot of times if you want to move up or whatever, you got to move to a different city to get that job to have a different opportunity or whatever.
Well, when I moved here, so my roommate in college was from New Albany, which is kind of what put this area on the map. She's like, well, hey, why don't you get a job in Louisville? I'll move with you. And then I would have a friend to move to town with. And then I get a job here. And then she's like, I'm going to stay in Lafayette.
Yeah,
so I moved here by myself.
Right.
I'm like, why am I here?
Yeah.
And it was a big adjustment to make, fresh out of college, new to the area, not knowing a soul. So it took a while to adjust.
And in this business, we are notorious, radio people, for being very nomadic.
Yes.
I've been fortunate, you've been fortunate to been in one place for a long time.
I did lose my very first job though. I moved here a year later, lost my first job. And then found myself, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Am I going to move home?
New city, whatever.
I stuck it out. Oh, the same week I lost my job, my apartment got broken into. So that was a bad week.
Ever relocate for a job and it didn't work out? I'm not talking yours was pretty quickly, but even quicker than that. After days or weeks at your new job and you've already relocated, it didn't work out. So we want to hear those stories, all right? 502-795-1997. I'll tweet out Camryn's TikTok. It's like a 9-minute TikTok, so it's a little bit longer, but I mean,
had to get some stuff out.
There are just balls dropped everywhere with this, and it's like cringe.
Well, that's always the worst fear, is that if you take a new opportunity, you're going to...
I know.
The biggest fear is you're going to then realize what you had that you left, because
I'll tell you,
it's not going to be anything like you thought it was going to be, and it's worse, and then you're like, I want to go back.
Well, I'll tell you the story coming up here just after 7 of when I relocated from my hometown for a job in radio, and then having to basically beg to keep my job after a week.
Oh.
Okay, so I'll give you that story on the way. Want to hear more of yours, all right?
All right.
502-795-1997. For when I was relocating from my hometown, Columbus, Ohio, to a city in Indiana, Terre Haute.
Yeah.
And it was, I got hired and moved there. And I remember it was my first week on the job. I was on the air. And
what shift did they hire you for?
It was a 7 p.m. to midnight.
Okay.
And I was, I was coming into my own. I'm trying to figure things out, trying to figure out the board and all that stuff.
Figure out, like, how do I do a show?
Yeah. So there were two things. One, I aired a phone call that I was talking to the person I thought off the air.
Oh, no.
And it got over the air.
Oh, no.
And I didn't say, like, things that would get me fined by the FCC, but it wasn't like appropriate, maybe.
Okay.
And so I got called in to the boss for that.
Uh-oh.
And then literally a week after I got there and got hired, I did this topic, which, because it happened there locally, there was like and I look back on it and I'm like, man, I was like 21, 22, dumb, and just like, yeah, all right, let's roll with it.
Bad judgment call.
It was a bad judgment call. I did a topic, and it got people riled up. Like riled up. And I got all these complaint calls.
Oh gosh.
And I remember there were calls to the boss that I should be fired and all this.
Oh wow.
And it was
what in the
like,
world did you talk about?
It was basically like a faces of death sort of like topic. Like, have you ever seen someone die sort of thing?
Oh gosh.
Yeah, I know. Very dark,
very dark and deathy, and
right.
Yeah.
But again, like, I didn't know any better, whatever. Right. And so I'm just
this will
like,
get people talking.
Yeah, for real. And so I remember having to basically beg not to be fired.
Please, I just moved here.
I know. I'm just like, all right. I made a mistake. Like, I did that, and it was
first big boy job. Please.
I won't do it anymore. I won't do it anymore. I promise. And I was at 2 strikes within
the first week. Oh,
and wow. I was like, man, I gotta. And I remember it was like a wake up call. I was like, I gotta. Like, I don't have a net.
I'm going to go back to talking about station promotions.
Yeah, I was like, I don't have a net. This is just.
I'm going to master the basics.
This
try
is
to
not
get fancy with
this
topics
is
again.
Not going to work out if I continue down this path. So, anyways, that.
Oh goodness.
Anyway, long story short, it worked out. I'm fine. We're
That's
all good.
Great.
But yes,
so how long did you end up working there?
2 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So was it like a fully tumultuous 2 years,
No,
or did you win them over with your wit and charm?
I won them over after wit and charm. It was like I mean, I had great ratings. I had great ratings there.
Yeah,
and
well, then they can't like argue with that, right?
Right. But
like, are you going to go against what the people want?
I know, right?
I mean,
so,
wow.
Anyways, good stuff there.